aye in favor, or nay not in favor? Ms. Barton?
Well, y'all convinced me, so I say nay.
Nay not in favor?
Correct. I was in favor of going back to the original sketch
Okay, so
and
nay
not doing the drug handle.
Okay, so nay not in favor. Ms. Postel?
Aye in favor.
All right, Mr. Hargett?
I'm going to go nay, not in favor.
Mr. Webb?
Aye in favor.
Ms. Murphy? I didn't hear. Paula?
Aye in favor.
Okay, Paula is. So we're in trouble. Joel's a nay, not in favor, so that's a split vote, 3-3. So I guess the motion does not carry.
Lee, you'll have to step in here.
Well, that's correct, Mr. Chairman. And are there any subsequent motions, or does that conclude the discussion on this matter?
So I personally would say that it includes discussion, and it needs to go back to the intent of that tree remaining at grade and saving it and being part of that larger tree save area to the left.
I think Jeff's point's valid, that I'm open to a different solution than the one that we showed, but I also am going to agree with you, Joel and Eric, that, you know, essentially 3 sides of the tree is what we were talking about, and all those existing roots can access that entire back 40, if you will.
Yeah.
So it's not that I oppose this solution because we've cut off the one side. I don't know that you can come up with another solution to save that tree that doesn't cut off that side. Unless you build a bridge, but who's going to do that?
Agreed. So would we be in agreement that that would end discussion on this application with no further motions?
I would agree to that.
Okay. Then we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, and that motion does not carry. Oops, I did that wrong. I'll go ahead and read our final application. Is it okay for me to proceed, Eric?
Yes.
Okay. Is item B2, and it is 2658 Rutherford Way in Carolina Bay. The application number is 2009-02B2. The TMS number 309-00-00054. Request a variance from section 54.327 to allow the removal of 1 grand tree, a zone PUD. And I'll go back to you, Eric.
And this has to be modified, the special exception.
Yep.
I
From section-
apologize. Yeah, on this, it's
Hang
a
on.
carryover. It's a carryover. I did not zap it. I apologize. So it's just the
Okay.
variance to remove 1 grand tree.
Okay.
So that's the application. This is the document submitted. We're dealing with a 34-inch poplar grade D. This is the parcel, very small development, but it's on a very large residual of Carolina Bay, zone PUD. So it's essentially at the location where a large power line crosses the project and basically joins the Essex portion of Carolina Bay with the main portion of Carolina Bay. So you can see to the right, you have the Essex section, and then to the right is Rutherford Way, which leads into the main body of Carolina Bay. And you see the transmission line clearing. Well, a little bit of woods on the north side of Rutherford Way on the right-hand side is high ground, and the concept plan did contemplate it for future development. This is a view from Rutherford Way. The tree at the time was preserved with the pond being built to the right. There's a little irrigation hub or something right there, that black box. Another view kind of showing the right-of-way, the transmission right-of-way in the tree. So with the influx of folks moving to Charleston, you can see the existing conditions and the proposed small cul-de-sac with 6 lots. The tree is the grade D tree. It's over mature poplar again, but note they're kind of in a situation where obviously, you know, they are entitled to develop this. They're working with Dominion Energy on the cul-de-sac encroaching into the easement, providing 6 homes that meet the minimum lot size and what have you. But they have to bring the sewer from the Essex farm. They stubbed out the sewer ended there. They have to go under the wetlands and then pop up to serve these lots. And then they also have to drain this small cul-de-sac, and it was master designed into that pond. So again, this tulip tree, once being stripped out from the few trees that are protecting it, the pine almost as tall and some other trees, and the tree itself in this view, you can see has a very strange branch connection at the very top, a very tall canopy tree again, the typical of tulip poplar, over mature. And by doing stormwater on one side, sewer on the other, I just don't feel confident that this tree is worthy of protection. And I actually, you know, I don't do this often, but encourage the folks. I couldn't give them obviously a staff level approval, but to come forth. And I think the hardship is that you've got a peninsular piece of land that is sandwiched between wetlands, the transmission line. Nobody really knew, I guess, at the time, the connection between Essex and Carolina Bay, because this was the far southern side of Carolina Bay. They placed the manhole where they did, and to get sewer extended, I think it's going to be severely impacted. So with that said, there's the arborist report. Again, pictures of it submitted by the applicant. We tapped on the tree. I don't carry a resistograph. We don't own one. I think the Parks Department does, but you can tell a lot by tapping on a tree. I don't have a mallet, but I use a 2x4, and it sounds like there's probably a hollow decay in the base of this tree. So staff recommends approval to plant 25 caliber inches of native canopy trees. I think the city would benefit from almost 10 trees at 2.5 inch. Must submit a reforestation plan for staff approval. Chain link fence for all other perimeter trees, and have a certified arborist. There should be the word treat in there, all grand trees to be preserved. So with that, we need to have our development team unmuted here. Michael Kane, Donnie Skinner, and Justin Smith.
Hey, Eric, can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Perfect.
This is
with
Joel. Hold on a second.
Okay.
I'm going to swear y'all in, and then you can state your names and start to present, okay?
All right, perfect.
Excellent. So y'all swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
I do.
I do.
Excellent. Okay, please go ahead and state your name and begin to proceed.
Okay. Well, I'd like to start off by saying my name is Michael Kane with Seaman Whiteside. Alongside with me here tonight is Kyle Siriano, our civil engineer on the project. Justin Smith with Pulte Group should be on the call, and Donnie Skinner with Natural Directions should also be on the call. Eric, I provided those phone numbers for you, so I don't know if you could unmute them just in case they need to speak. But good evening, board members. Appreciate your time tonight, and thank you, Eric, for your overview and notes. Just kind of in general, as Eric has mentioned, we had Donnie go out and assess this tree, this 34-inch poplar. It's in decline. You can see Donnie's notes there on the BZA submittal, even his recommendation for the tree to be removed and approved through the city BZA. We did meet with Eric Schultz out on site on July 17th to evaluate this. As he had mentioned, he actually went to the point of testing the tree to see what its condition was, and it seems to be in decline. As he had also mentioned, we are pretty restricted here on this development with natural feature with the marsh on the north and east side, the 170-foot Dominion power easement on the west, and Rutherford Way and the existing pond to the southeast. So access to the site is limited due to the existing drainage pond and Rutherford Way. So the proposed road must go through both the Dominion power easement and the pond in order to access the site. As Eric had mentioned, we've been coordinating with Dominion Energy on the having the road be able to, with the cul-de-sac, to encroach within there. So what we're left with here is trying to provide the sewer connection into the site, and basically this poplar would be a standalone tree, and it's in decline, and we feel that it has already storm damage, and it could be a hazard to public safety. So I think I'll keep this short, but as the BZA application states, we obviously got to provide the utilities here, but we are limited with what we got here. But we do believe that mitigation for the removal of this tree would enhance the quality of the site. So again, thank you for your time tonight to listen to our presentation. Should you have any questions regarding the assessment by Natural Directions, Donnie's available, or any questions regarding the development, Justin's available. But thank you, board. We ask for your consideration for approval of this grand tree removal tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric, is there anybody signed up to speak against the application?
Mr. Chairman, nobody registered to speak in favor or opposed. And I might just add to Michael's presentation, I was surprised maybe he missed it or I didn't hear it, but the reason for also angling the sewer is there's a pretty big significant culvert under Rutherford Road that if they were to extend the sewer straight like you typically would in a right of way and then angle it or right turn it, but that culvert, they apparently CWS doesn't like that type of structure on top of their pipe. So that's another reason I believe I heard when we visited the tree.
That's correct, Eric. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, then if nobody is against the motion, I will close this to the public, and we'll open it to the board for discussion.
Joel, did I hear Michael say that no other member of their team wanted to speak? I'm sorry. Before we
Oh, I sorry, I might have jumped the gun. I didn't know that would be necessary. We didn't have anybody opposed. City's recommendation was in favor. But if there is somebody who would like to speak from the team, please feel free.
Nobody else from Seaman Whiteside. Justin and Donnie, I don't know. I think Donnie's assessment's right there before y'all, but if there's any questions from the board to any of us, we're available.
Okay, thank you. So we will close it to the public, and it'll be open to the board for discussion.
Eric, did you say this tree was protected previously?
Well, they obviously, when they made the connection between, I don't know how many years back now, Essex Farms, I think, was way ahead of the southern end of Carolina Bay, because they marched in from, the main entrance off of Savannah Highway, and they migrated this way. And then when that connection was made, obviously they had to limit the impact to the wetland crossing. So there was a narrowest point there. And then if you go back, I'll go back just a minute here. Oh, did I just lose everything? So again, you can see how that neighborhood to the left was there. And then they brought Rutherford in, which is in this aerial view has very little homes because of the corner of the U.S. Vegetable Environmental Station is like in the lower left corner of this image. And then they had to weave through. So that came much later. So they stubbed out knowing that there was going to be a connection. And then the road came in, and that was the only point that they could do it. So this tree was in a wooded area to the north, and it was preserved. They didn't, at the time, build the pond oversized. They saved it for the pond construction, but that's what I meant by it was preserved just to make the connection. And then the concept plan showed and was approved with this cul-de-sac to the north and actually a cul-de-sac mirroring it to the south where you see that clearing. But that portion, I believe, became a borrow pit. They found some good soils there, but then dumped all the bad soil in there. So to build homes on the south side probably won't happen. That's what I heard in the field, because it would just take so much effort to dig it all out, because you can tell that there's some phosphate mines around nearby, and they found decent soil there, but then filled it back in with bad soil. So I hope that explains that the tree was just there. They saved it at the time, but they're entitled by the concept plan to build 6 homes on the north side with a small cul-de-sac, and that's where they're at today.
So to your knowledge, it wasn't ever specifically protected?
No, it was just well, you can see the pond was bent around it. I don't know, they designed the pond to salvage the tree that was pretty near the edge of the transmission clearing at the time. And anyway, but at the time we didn't really see this plan in front of us. So
I got you. I mean, I agree with the assessment. I agree with your assessment. I think calling it a hazard tree might be a little bit of a stretch, but
right.
It's very old for a poplar, and it has some other issues.
Now, I thought that there was 1 variance and 2 special exceptions on this one.
No, I missed the advertisement is correct. 1 grand tree. I failed to remove off a previous slide.
Okay.
That's a carryover. That's a carryover. That will be struck. The special exception as shown on this is struck.
Okay. Now it's somewhat their own hardship making because they could not develop those 6 lots, right?
Well, that I think they have a right. It was shown on a concept plan to just flat out say the tree has to save, or I think that would be a little out of line personally, but.
That was it was probably shown on the master plan as a save. Otherwise, they wouldn't have designed the lake that way. I'm not saying I wouldn't agree with taking it out. I'm just making a point. I make a motion that we approve for removal of staff recommendations.
All right, motion by Amanda, seconded by
I second it.
Nell. We'll go ahead and go through the rolls. So, Ms. Barton.
Aye. In favor.
Excellent. Ms. Postel.
I in favor.
Mr. Hargett.
In favor.
Mr. Webb.
I in favor.
Ms. Murphy.
She is on phone. She had to call in on phone, so Scott needs to unmute her. I think.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mobile.
There she is.
Paula, what's your number? So Scott can unmute you.
Hold on, I can tell you that.
7001 294.7.
It ends in 9470.
Okay, Scott, could you unmute that number? There she goes. Paula, you can hear us now.
Aye in favor.
Aye in favor. Thank you.
And I am also aye in favor. So the motion carries 6-0, unanimous. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you to those that joined us tonight. And that concludes the September 2nd, 2020 Board of Zoning Appeals Site Design meeting.